Hello, folks. Hope everyone is well. Now, as if we don't have enough going on in March, with the big Saturn shift and the two eclipses as well taking place in March, we also have a Venus retrograde transit that begins. This is a game changer month for many people. Yeah? So let's talk about this important transit. So this Venus retrograde transit will start at 16 degrees of Pisces, where it's been in its exaltation since the end of January. On March the 2nd, it starts on March the 2nd in Pisces in Uttarabhadra Nakshatra. The entire transit actually is going to take place in Pisces, which is good. That's a positive omen. And Venus here is going to have many interactions with the moon, with Mercury, with Rahu, with Saturn, with the sun. So lots of action happening. Venus will start its journey in Pisces with Rahu, among other planets, and end its journey with Saturn in Pisces. So Venus resumes direct motion on April the 13th in Pisces at 0 degrees in Purvabhadrapada, but stays in the sign of Pisces, yeah? So I'm going to actually approach this retrograde transit discussion in two phases. I'm going to divide it into two phases, right? Because there's just so much going on with Venus in Pisces. Phase one will be Venus with Rahu from March the 2nd, when the retrograde phase starts. Venus with Rahu from March the 2nd till March the 29th. Right? Phase 2 is with Venus interacting with Saturn and Rahu from March the 29th till April the 13th, approximately 2 weeks, right? So I'm going to address each sign readings, and I'm going to refer to these both phases, these timelines. Yeah. Venus moves through Pisces till the end of May. So as I said, it's a long phase from the end of January till the end of May. But for now, we're going to focus on that retrograde portion of the transit, because that's really when we're going to see a lot of events transpire. Because at the same time, we're having two eclipses. And at the same time, we're having a big Saturn shift, yeah? So, Pisces in general this year, is getting very much activated. But Venus's transit there is probably the most, it is the game changer, right? It's the most important transit, I would say, in Pisces from the end of January till the end of May, because in that portion, in those few months, the whole astrological landscape changes. Right? We have two eclipses. We have Saturn's movement. We have Rahu's movement. We have Jupiter's movement. So this Venus is really going to influence a lot of the other planetary movements. Now, of course, Venus in Pisces is in its highest dignity. Right? It's its exaltation sign, which actually adds another layer to this already complex transit. Reason being is that Venus in exaltation actually makes us even more aware of the difficulties, the blocks, the delays, but it also makes us much more resourceful to come up with the solutions. And that's the power of exaltation, right? Because it's in its highest vibration. The relationship entanglements from the past have a strong grip on us now in these months. It's as if Venus wants to transit Pisces peacefully, let go of all the relationship complexities, let go of all matters to do with money, business, but there are outside forces that just won't allow this to happen, right? Because of the interaction that Venus will have with all of the other planets. And even Jupiter indirectly, right? Because there's a Parivartana happening between Venus and Jupiter. So there's an indirect connection there as well. Now, remember, Libra is Venus's Multrikon sign, right? That's 8 places away from Pisces. And in the beginning of the transit, Venus is also in Scorpio and Navamsha. So we can already surmise that this transit will be full of endings, beginnings, surprises, big surprises, and certainly sudden shifts in relationship matters. And these will be going back and forth. There'll be uncertainty, there'll be fogginess, there'll be indecision. For some, there will be heartbreak, disappointment. For others, a final culmination of a relationship will happen at this time. And for others, this can actually help us move forward with a brand new chapter in relationships. This transit will definitely help us cut through the emotional attachments to a past story that we think defines us. And also help to cut through the excuses that prevent us from moving forward with relationship matters, right? Remember, there are malefics traveling with Venus throughout this transit and beyond, right, until the end of May. You'll have plenty of opportunities to release the past. And at the very least, this will help you let go and move on. There's a beautiful Parivartana yoga happening with Jupiter and Venus, as I mentioned. They're like 311 from each other, right? Jupiter is in Taurus, Venus is sign, and Venus is transiting in Pisces, Jupiter sign. So how can we use this powerful Jupiterian energy to release, to let go, and experience deep realizations? That Pisces vibration is sattvic, right? And it's orientated toward purity, towards spirituality. An urge to end a chapter, but fear and doubts of an uncertain future are with us at this time. The Pisces purity is blemished with all of the malefics, as well as Mercury is also in Pisces at this time, to add to the complexity, right? So communications also might be compromised. We may not be seeing the picture clearly. We may not be listening properly. But this is a transit where one door may close, but there are 3 more waiting to open. So we have to manage those fears and doubts. You have to let go first, and trust, and have faith, and that is the highest vibration of Venus and Pisces, right? Especially at this time, because it's also doing a Parivartana with Jupiter. If we talk about the power of manifestation, which is extremely strong at this time, now is the time to see the magic. Now is the time to see the miracles. What does that mean, anyway? I mean, you have an intention, but make sure it's a pure intention. If you want to connect with that sattvic energy of Pisces, make sure it's a pure intention. What does pure mean? Pure simply means that it's not riddled with doubts and worries and counter intentions, but it's just a pure intention, which will be a challenge because Venus will be compromised. There's so many malefics, there's so much. It's not just Venus and Pisces, right, that we're dealing with. But it is a retrograde Venus in Pisces. So the possibilities are there. If you can put aside all the distractions, the doubts, the fears, and everything, the possibility is very, very much there, and it's very much like that Pisces energy, Venus and Pisces energy. That's very much a concentrated energy, being that it's retrograde, right? So what do you have to do? Have the pure intention, and then you have to let go and you have to trust. Which again, it's a challenge. First, there's Rahu. thinking that you know, like everything that is coming your way is there to stay. And you're probably imagining, you know, future with this scenario. It could be a person, could be a relationship, could be a situation with your work, with your money situation. It depends, you know, where is Pisces in your chart? What is Venus? What is the lordship of Venus? So all those things you have to see to understand what is it that you're dealing with. So when you let go, and when you let go and trust, and you trust that all will come to fruition, this is basically the essence of this transit. And this is where you will be tested, right? But the power of manifestation is very, very strong at this time with this Venus transit. Especially in the first phase, right? Especially in that first phase, because in the beginning of the transit, Rahu's there. Rahu and Venus in Pisces, traveling together. Mercury joins, right? So with so much happening in Pisces, our instincts will be to take big leaps, jump into new horizons, and start pedaling, start swimming. But here you need to do the opposite. You need to have an intention, but do nothing. You need to go with the current. You need to go with the flow. And how do you do that? You take a step back. You have the intention, make sure it's a pure intention, take a step back and let go. Then you will automatically get to the top and swim with ease, right? There will be big surprises. There will be big surprises, and some events will be so unheard of that they can feel miraculous to you, because they would defy logic, certainly, with so much happening in Pisces. In Pisces, you can harness this energy most effectively if you connect with a higher power, due to that Parivartana happening with Jupiter. This will enable you to feel that you're in the right place at the right time with the right person or people. Connect with that inner source and pay special attention to your dreams at this time for guidance. Yeah. You can chant Venus mantras, listen to Shri Strotam, fast on our Fridays, especially on a Friday, right? Treat the women in your life with care and courtesy. Both Rahu and Saturn are friends of Venus. And not just friends, actually. Both Rahu and Saturn are students of Venus. So Venus will lead here, actually, right? So listen to the women in your life. And you can experience good fortune due to women as well at this time. Doors can open up for you now, quite suddenly, quite unexpectedly. This transit will also help you look at the big picture and then adjust and then make adjustments according to your situation. And this is the point where people tend to give up, actually, right? When phase 2 of the transit comes around with Saturn in the mix, it will very quickly show you the reality of your situation. The details that you overlooked, maybe, right? Once Saturn enters Pisces, you will get that proper guidance. Rahu may cloud your judgment and create more and more options. And when Saturn steps in, we can listen to Venus properly, right? Practically, realistically. When Saturn is with Venus, you're forced to accept the karmic connections in your relationships, and the karmic blockages and the karmic restraints, and basically your karmic duties, rather, I should say. You're forced to accept your karmic duties in the relationship. Like the shortcomings, right? The reality of the situation. Being we have a dignified Venus placement, Venus here will help you become flexible and more compromising rather than focus on the harsh realities only. Right? This can apply to your relationships and finances, certainly, but it can apply to any pleasures in life. This transit is very powerful as we see, like here we're going to see that like warrior side of Venus. Like Venus is very much a warrior. Yes, Venus in Pisces will connect to Jupiter through a Parivartana, but it will also connect to all the other planets, right? With the exception of Mars and Ketu, it's actually connecting with every planet. So we will face relationship hurdles and obstacles. There are issues to clear away. There are issues to clear away. The second phase, when Saturn is in the mix, can bring an ending for some people. But for many, it's a realistic appraisal of our situation and the wisdom to see what we can change and accept what we cannot change. But for everyone, this will definitely be a turning point, right? As it always is when Saturn and Rahu get triggered. Venus in Pisces can be too idealistic and unrealistic in relationships and maybe too choosy when it comes like whom to associate with. However, in its retrograde state and with two malefics, there will be pressure to make practical decisions about our relationships, as well as the way we make money, right? Like Venus connects to both Saturn and Jupiter through nakshatra as well, right? First it starts off in Saturn's nakshatra, then it moves into Jupiter's nakshatra. So our decisions are going to be long-lasting and enduring. In fact, it's a time when you can get deep into reflection, meditation, prayer, set intentions, ask for what you need. And the abundant energy here will invite miracles. That Parivartana yoga between Jupiter and Venus tells us relationships that come into our lives now will stay for a very long time. Ruling planet Jupiter is in Taurus, a sign of wealth, a sign of abundance, which fares well for these matters. Right? As I said, the power of manifestation is very strong at this time. So during the retrograde phase, when Rahu and Venus travel together, money may be flowing, and there would be sudden gains for some people, especially if you had made investments abroad. You can see a good return at this time. But when Venus joins Saturn, there will be a reality check. With the relationships, it could be, is this my soulmate? Is this an enduring connection? Or was it just a transient person that came into my life when Rahu and Venus were connecting? Right? With money matters, you'll be questioning where you are spending and where you should cut back. The first notable point in this retrograde cycle is the day of the retrograde on March the 2nd at 16 degrees of Pisces. Here, Venus closely connects to the moon, bringing up sentimental feelings, emotional feelings. Rahu and Mercury are also conjunct in Pisces, right? So thoughts can be foggy. There can be a lot of wishful thinking. There can be unclear communications. But on the intuitive level, you will know what's going on. Certainly. There is a lot of focus on close, intimate connections. Your desires will actually control you at this time with Rahu so close by. You can be doing some long distance traveling now as well. And it's a fantastic time for doing retreats, for spiritual pilgrimages, anything of that sort. Expenses can be high, especially for luxury items. And you know, when Saturn gets into the mix, perhaps you'll get that bill, that credit card bill. The dates to keep in mind. First is when Mercury also goes retrograde from March 14th till April 6th. This is important as Mercury is also in Pisces at this time. Communications will be unpredictable, unexpected, certainly intuitive, and could be unclear. Like you may not, you may think you know what's going on. You know, there's a hunch that says, yeah, okay, I get it. Because certainly it's unclear. But wait till that passes, right? So that's from March 14th till April 6th. Travel at this time also can be filled with surprises. Money and business matters could feel unstable at this time with Mercury's retrograde. It's not a time to negotiate or arrive at final decisions. Then to add to further uncertainty, Venus goes combust, right? Due to its conjunction with the Sun. This is from March 20th till March 30th. Shorter time span than usual. Why? Because Venus is retrograde. So the Sun just carries on, right? This phase, we can lose control over some relationship issues. This is the time to be watchful, from March 20th till March 30th. It's not a time to argue or be uncompromising, as it may result in a sudden ending. As soon as Venus comes out of this combustion, it makes a conjunction with that newly entered Saturn in Pisces on March the 29th. It's just about coming out of combustion. Combust Venus and now conjunct Saturn can be times for reality check, certainly. You can feel like withdrawing from the world at this time and withdrawing from your relationships. And maybe that's a good idea, right? Maybe it's a good time for solitude, actually, just step back a little bit. Saturn here will also act as a filter at this time for all of the gifts that Rahu may have brought, right? That Rahu-Venus conjunction. There will also be an aha moment, which can happen between March the 23rd and March the 26th with respect to your relationships. For some, this is the final break and dissolution. For others, it's reconnecting. It's reconnecting with someone from the past. Connecting with old friends now is particularly supported. And for some, you would have manifested a relationship from a past at this time. This can very easily happen. With the eclipse season also taking place in March, we can see quick manifestations, right? From pure and clear intentions, as I mentioned. Because it's such a potent energy. Astrologically, at that, this entire month of March, with the eclipses taking place, it's no doubt, right? It's no doubt that many people will start new chapters and old chapters. It's a potent time, and this continues till the end of May. In the second phase of the retrograde cycle, in April, right, when Venus is making close conjunctions with both Saturn and Rahu, you can move away finally from an outlived past story. It's just outlived. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a heartbreak or breakup or something like that. Something in your life is, you are moving on from something. The day that Venus goes direct on April the 13th can be a difficult day. And that's a difficult day. And you may feel like you're waking up from a fog. At that time, there is that close conjunction with Saturn and Rahu both. But at least there will be some forward momentum now, right? If you had done your work, if you had made revisions to your plans, if you had assessed the practical bits, then now is simply putting everything into action. Venus now is closely conjunct to both Saturn and Rahu, as I mentioned. So Venus with two malefics. So you're going to feel some pressure. But again, because it's an exalted Venus, you will manage to find the solution. And with its connection with Jupiter, through Parivartana, through Pisces, right? This is Venus's biggest strength at this time. If you had taken advice from others, it can really come in handy now. If you're stuck, don't hesitate to reach out to your guide, guru, counselor, even to close people that you can talk things out with. Of course, spiritual practices can be very effective now. So you can find the answer that way. If you have Venus and Pisces in your chart, especially if it's retrograde, you can take advantage of this energy. One thing that is unquestionably a trademark of Venus retrograde is a lack of self-love, a lack of self-acceptance. So you can use Venus retrograde phases to improve how you feel about yourself, to love yourself more. Reflect on that. This is the perfect time for that. Connect with what you value. Family, food, home, whatever it is. And starting new relationships, I found in Venus retrograde, can bring some surprises later on. It could simply be that you're not getting the whole picture about the person. It doesn't have to be a doom and gloom situation, right? You just don't know everything yet. And maybe like something that you find out later is not what you thought. For instance, you can meet people that you connect with, however, very deeply at this time. You can start a job. Also, if you start a job at this time, it may look like the ideal job, but then something about that is revealed to you later. Like maybe there was it was unclear about what your role or your responsibility would be. Maybe something to do with the salary that was unclear. Stuff like that can come up when you start something new in the retrograde phase, right? This doesn't apply to reconnecting with past relationships, though. Because that often happens with Venus retrograde phases. I have found that people from the past do reach out to you, do reconnect with you. So it doesn't apply to that. And in fact, it's a fantastic time to reconnect when Venus is retrograde, and even when Mercury is retrograde, for that matter. It could be previous relationships coming back. It could be just attractions that you had, right? Just connections. For some, it could be just to get closure. For others, it could realize that, you're meant to be with this person. So you want to develop that relationship. These are like common general themes that can come up in any Venus retrograde. So now, let's talk about each sign. Aries, for you, this Venus retrograde is taking place in your 12th house. So certainly you can meet someone special now. Right? Because we know that 12th house can bring relationship, especially with, a dignified Venus there. There is some complexity, though, with the relationship, with the person. Like they could be married already. There could be distance between you, right? Like it could be like a long distance situation. It can be someone foreign. They speak a different language. They're from a different culture, religion. That can be an obstacle. So these are just some examples of the complexities manifesting. The connection, though, is very strong. Like it does feel like unfinished karma with this person. And it can definitely be someone from the past life, this life, right? Certainly, it's going to be an unforgettable connection with Rahu so close by in Pisces. It's a 4-month transit, right, of Venus. Not just the retrograde, but the whole Venus transit in Pisces. And the retrograde portion, you will be seriously evaluating and reevaluating what it is that you need from partners to begin with. Am I asking for the right thing? Am I giving importance to the right people? Yeah. Am I giving my time to the right people? You may also feel some pressure from outside sources to make a decision about a relationship at this time, right? It could be friends, family. Exercise some restraint, as in the second phase of that Venus transit, the practicalities will sink in when Saturn moves into Pisces. You can meet someone special whilst you're traveling abroad. It's an excellent time to travel for you, right? And likely you will go very far away from your home country if you do that. Fantastic time for any spiritual pilgrimages. Be cautious about spending, as money can slip away quite easily for you at this time. Some of you may, for you, some of you may become reclusive at this time to escape some problems from relationships, especially. Some of you may be inclined to become reclusive at this time to escape from any problems that you had, especially in relationships. Dreams will bring important messages. The ability to connect to the astral world for answers is very strong now, so take advantage of that. For you, the power of manifestation is super strong, right? So use it to your best advantage. Sleep can feel a bit disturbed with so many planets in Pisces, so perhaps like maybe keep a journal. Maybe try and, tweak your habits, like sleep early, like just pay attention to that. You could like listen to relaxing music when you go to sleep for that. There can be a lot on your mind, so take time to slow down. Take time for self-care, for spiritual practice that can be effective for you. There can be a lot of confusion for you at this time with relationships, with just general life direction, right? As Saturn has just entered Pisces at this time as well during the retrograde. You can also decide to finally break it off with relationship. It is 7th Lord, after all, traveling into the 12th house. There may be a loss of relationship due to outside factors like parental interference, distance between you, difference in culture, in religion, age gaps. That could be some of the reasons. All of this can bring a dissolution. If it does dissolve the relationship during that Venus retrograde, you will reconnect at a later time. Usually that's what happens when you dissolve a relationship during retrograde. There are things that are left unsaid. It doesn't quite close. This is the karma of that Venus retrograde. So, in any case, it's an excellent time for you to reflect on what you want from partners, right? If you have a business now is the time you can reinvent yourself actually in that business. So that's quite fortunate. Family relationships can feel distant. There can be some difficulties that can come up there. Money looks good for you at this time. You can get money from unexpected sources as well. You can be offered a good role in your career that pays well, especially when Venus conjuncts to your 10th Lord Saturn from March onward. So if you are looking out for something, that's a fantastic time to put yourself out there. In April, the second phase of the transit, your vitality can feel low, however, right? Because Lagna Lord is going to be debilitated as well in Cancer at that time. So, all the best. Taurus, for you. For Taurus, Venus is Lagna Lord, transiting the 11th house. It's a very eventful transit for you, right? But it can also feel stressful. You're feeling like pressurized from all directions at this time, especially from your children, if you have any. It can bring some problems with communication, especially with your coworkers. So watch what you say and write at this time. Positive way to use this transit is to seek opportunities with new ventures, whether it is funding for a new idea, or marketing strategy to attract more business, or presenting ideas to be recognized in your field. It's a good time for those things, just to make yourself more visible, right? It's a good time to take the lead also in your work, in your business affairs. Great transit for money. Also great for networking. You'll certainly be reconnecting with old friends, old networks, old connections. Past connections will come into your life and people will be reaching out to you at this time. Right? Obstacles in married life, however, can be there if you're married. And it can prevent you from meeting some of your goals. If you had health issues, you'll be able to find a good solution now, right? It's 6th Lord exalted in the 11th house. Relationships with children can undergo some changes, but here you can also enjoy spending time with them. Yeah. It could also simply be that your child is entering a new chapter, like moving abroad, going to school, getting married. So this is the cause for the stress and the so much activity, right? It could just be that. If you had pets, or if you thought about getting a pet, now is an excellent time. Money looks good. I would say be watchful though of spending. You can be spending a lot as well at this time. Saturn in the 2nd phase. So the 2nd phase of the Venus retrograde transit, Saturn joining, is actually an excellent time for you. It will help you solidify your plans with your career especially, and it can bring new opportunities your way. With relationships, with money, with career, with everything. Wait till Venus, of course, goes direct to see if there are viable plans and opportunities. But it's an excellent transit for you. Except for the beginning, it can feel pressurized. Relationships for those that are single can also feel difficult, right? Again, especially in the first phase. The second phase, things improve for you. At that time, Mars also goes back into Cancer, which is a better transit for you as well. Gemini, what's happening for you? Well, for you, the Venus retrograde transit takes place in your 10th house. It's 5th Lord moving through the 10th house, making an excellent yoga for career, business, for connections. Also great for going back to school if you thought about doing that, studying a new subject. You can come up with good solutions now to old money problems, to old business problems, to career issues. If you're self-employed, then lots of work will come your way at this time. Old clients will also come back to you, definitely. It's a good time to plan the launch of a new business as well. Money owed to you will flow in now as well. You may be beautifying your home at this time, right? Like it's a time when you can make some unique purchases, especially luxury items for your space. Right? If you have to travel to foreign lands, especially for career, then it's an excellent time for that. You will see some gains. You can be returning to old haunts at this time, reconnecting with old connections. Expenses can go up in this regard for you. Deriving an income from abroad, networking with those from abroad is also materially beneficial for you at this time. Setting up a business abroad is also good. But of course, be aware you will run into some obstacles. If you hold your course, the rewards are there. So don't be distracted. Yeah? You'll be reassessing your finances at this time, how you make money, how you spend money. For those that have been wishing to have a child, this is a time that you can see some progress with your plans. Yeah, you may understand the reasons for your delay, or you may be discussing the timing of having children with your partner. And this would be an excellent time for that. If so, you can do you can go ahead with your plans, but do expect some surprises. It may not be exactly as you wish, right? It is, after all, a retrograde planet with some malefics in the picture, especially in that the first phase of Venus retrograde. There can be some especially in that first phase of Venus retrograde, there can be some surprises. If you are in Venus Dasha, you can see sudden gains in your wealth portfolio at this time. If you need to do some financial planning, then this is an excellent transit for it and can help you immensely, right? Venus is a favorable planet for you. Do be cautious in phase 1 when Mercury is also transiting with Venus, right? Mercury being your Lagna Lord. In debilitation, in retrograde, it's just not a time that you would be making a sound judgment. Second phase, also when Mercury is out of its retrograde, and Venus is connecting with Saturn, is much better time to make decisions. You will feel pressure, you will feel stress, particularly in that first phase. You may be cutting corners, trying to understand how to arrive at a desired outcome as well. Overall, it's a good transit, a good Venus transit for you, right? Fifth Lord, exalted. Especially that second phase when Venus is conjunct with Saturn in your 10th house. That's going to bring some growth opportunities for you. And especially through women. It could be certainly through women that these opportunities are coming your way. Cancer. This is Venus, 4th, 11th Lord traveling into your 9th house, going retrograde in your 9th house. If you're thinking of going back to school, excellent transit for this, even planning it, right? It's a good transit to visit your home country, your birth country, if you live in foreign lands. In fact, travel can come up quite suddenly for you at this time. Yeah. If you're thinking about buying a property or even a car, then this is the time to research, but wait to make final decision, I would say, as something may change about that transaction, right? You may be facing a residential move at this time. It's a great time for travel, for buying beautiful items for your home. 11th Lord in the 9th house means you can see old connections coming back, old friends coming back into your life now. Perhaps you're meeting them whilst you're traveling, right? Relationship with siblings will improve for you. A relationship from the past can certainly return for you. As you have Rahu conjunct Venus, right, in the first phase of the transit. And certainly during the second phase, there can be some distance that you feel from loved ones or your past connections. Saturn with Venus from the end of March onward can create separations also. Or just a cooling off. Where you have to see the stark reality of the situation. Could be a relationship. In fact, in that second phase, there will be a serious mood regarding your relationships. You'll be facing some difficult choices in your love life, whether to hold on to the past or just steer ahead and let go once and for all. You may also have to rethink old patterns in your relationships and your expectations from others. Like, are they realistic? Are you asking for the right thing? You may also be facing decisions regarding a relocation, one that is perhaps sparked by a relationship. So that could be the dilemma, right, with the relationship that you're facing at this time, right? It could be connected to a move. Take time for reflection, right? Like wait till Venus moves direct, if you can, and then make a final decision. Leo, for you it's 10th Lord moving through your 8th house. There are big changes in career life. It could simply be how you appear to others. And you could see some enhancement and improvement there. Some change in you is happening, and others are perceiving you in a different light, in a new light. What actions do you need to take to nurture your career? These are the kind of difficult questions that you can face at this time. Right? Do you want to work on your own, independently, or do you want to partner up with someone? Or do you want to stay with your current job? Some of you may take a career opportunity abroad at this time. If so, it would be very beneficial for you. It's a progressive time for those who have a career in finance, in investment, in trade, in banking. Yeah. And it's also good for those who do research, like occult, esoteric subjects, right? Astrology. If you're in these fields, now is you can see a breakthrough of some kind. And certainly it could be connected to how others are perceiving you in a positive way. Yeah. More money, a different approach to your clients, your peers, your boss, that can be there. Simply a different way to market yourself or communicate with others. Money looks good for you. You could get some wonderful investment returns in the first phase of the Venus transit. You may be cashing in on investments from the past. It's a good time to reorganize your business if you're self-employed, especially if it's related to your image, right, in some way, how you're perceived by the public at large. You can face some pressure, either financial or from your in-laws, to reshape your life. If if you're not married, it could simply be that your finances are telling you that you need to reshape your life. You will run into some obstacles, and for some there are two directions now, and you must decide. You must choose. The best remedy for you is to give donations or help like underprivileged people, because this can feel a little bit of a pressurized transit. So many planets in that 8th house for you, right? Change is inevitable at this time. But some remedy can help you overcome the problems that you may face. It's a good time to strengthen your faith through prayer, through meditation, because it's that third lord as well. It's third lord in the 8th house. So your willpower, your stamina can be on the low side, right? You may feel unmotivated. You may feel lazy. It could just be that you're feeling lazy, no will to do anything, that kind of feeling. Your communications will be felt intensely at this time, so try to be diplomatic if you can. The first phase with Venus and Rahu can feel exciting. You may be obsessing about someone at this time. The second phase can be when you're thinking about career, image, status. There's a shift happening in these areas, and now you can get information about which direction to take. There's some looking back. If you're reconnecting with those from the past, this can be very helpful for you to take decisions, actually. It can bring some clarity, actually. It's a time you can feel like life is a little bit out of control, right? But the changes actually are going to work out in your favor. Try not to react, step back, reflect. Try not to go it alone at this time, if possible, right? Reach out for advice, reach out for support. You will find it. Virgo, what's happening with you? Well, you're going to have a very exciting Venus transit. For you, both phases of the transit actually can be beneficial, right? Venus is 2nd, 9th lord transiting the 7th house, so it's a very, very much a benefic planet for you. Fated meetings and events are in store for you. It can be people from the past, this life, past life. There's a strong element of the past in your connections at this time. 7th house is getting a complete transformation. Everything can happen in this Venus retrograde, and with Venus transiting with Rahu and Saturn for 4 months, you can be making some big decisions about relationships. You can go from being single to engaged to married quite quickly, or from being separated to divorced. Yeah. There's a likelihood of your personal status also changing at this time, as I mentioned, right? Opportunities will come so suddenly. You will have to act quickly with Rahu in the mix. You can acquire wealth and status also through your spouse now if you're already married, or your partner. Your partner can be instrumental in your business success at this time. In fact, if you partner up at this time, your financial situation will improve after marriage, after making it a committed relationship. This Venus transit, 9th lord in the 7th house, is a Raj Yoga happening for you. It's retrograde. It's connecting with malefics, so obviously the results will get modified. But it is a Raj Yoga. It will bring prosperity. It will bring luck, especially from abroad. Especially foreign connections can be lucky. If you establish a new source of income, it will steadily grow with time, especially if it's a business partnership. I would say that wait till Venus goes direct if you're considering making firm commitments, right? But the opportunities will come during the retrograde phase. So you will need to nurture them. The first phase may bring pleasant surprises, and the second phase, you'll be thinking on how to cement those surprises, the situations, and make it into something permanent. It's a good transit for those opting for higher education as well. If you're looking for a teacher, a guide, a mentor, an advisor, then you will find someone at this time. It could also be someone returning from the past to give you some guidance. Reconnecting with your father is supported at this time. The second phase, when Venus is going to conjunct Saturn, you'll be seriously considering making commitments to partnerships, to business endeavors. It's a good time to examine the details when that second phase happens with Saturn, right? You have until May to make a decision here, so there's no need to rush. But there may be new information floating in, right? So, but trust yourself, because your hunches will be right in any case. So Libra. For Libras, this may feel like a frustrating transit, right? After all, it is Lagna Lord Venus transiting 6th house. It's not a good place for Venus. It can bring problems with partner. Domestic life may not be very peaceful at this time. It's a good time to seek healing, alternative therapies, just to de-stress. Excellent time for that. It'll be very effective. It's especially the case if you're returning to a therapy that you started a long time ago. You may suffer some losses at this time. There can be urgent situations arising. Unexpected events that change your life direction can also happen. You'll be reassessing past decisions you have made with respect to investments. You'll be realigning your finances, and you may notice some gaps there. Now is the time to sort out such affairs, right? As they can make you vulnerable for disputes later on. So to bring some organization into your financial life is a promising thing to do. Like you should be realigning your finances now. If you're getting into a marriage, if you're getting into a business partnership, you want to take some cautious steps now to secure your finances. If you are having health issues, then you could find a good solution, as Venus is exalted with Rahu during the first phase of this transit. Quick solutions will come your way. You can easily retrace your steps and come up with crafty solutions to your problems at this time. A sudden opportunity can also come up, forcing you to take a completely different direction in life. It could simply mean that you're learning new skills to upgrade your career. If there were relationships that needed some closure or healing, or even healing, then this is the time. This is the time for that. You may be tempted to get even with a prior love interest or relationship partner. Try to hold back, because when Venus goes direct, it may backfire on you. If there were any ill feelings towards others, this is the time to resolve them through forgiveness, through letting go. The first phase of this Venus retrograde is actually a little bit easier to deal with Rahu there, right? Rahu will manage that 6th house, leading to successful outcomes for you. The second phase with Saturn there, you can feel more stressed about situations. But again, Saturn in the 6th will help you find solutions. A lot of stuff happening. A lot of your 6th house is getting activated. So do take time for self-care, right? Because 6th house getting activated can feel very stressful. Scorpio. Now you have been going through a tough Saturn transit, and there would have been many pressures on you this past year. This Venus transit will give you the chance to let go a bit and enjoy life for a while. Right? Venus is your 7th lord. It's transiting your 5th house. So take some time out to have fun. Take some time out for your hobbies, to play with your children if you have any. If you don't have any, then get involved with fun activities to treat yourself. There can be job promotions. There can be change in your work and your business as well at this time. If you're thinking about forming partnerships, then do your research before you make any final decisions. Right? At this time, there could be some ego clashes with your partner if you're in a relationship. If you had some problems in this area, you can find the right solutions in the first phase of the transit. You may be making changes in your home environment, and there can be some disagreements here with your partner, for example. If you're not in a relationship, you may reconnect with someone from the past that you just cannot get out of your mind at this time, right? In any case, you're putting in a lot of energy into dating and meeting new people. A lot of new people can come into your life at this time that would make good relationship partners. Yeah. First phase of Venus transit with Rahu conjunction, this is especially true. The second phase, you may be distracted by work and domestic matters. It's not a time to take chances with your practice or your business. Take time to research your options and wait till Venus moves direct, if possible, right? It's not a good time to make bold moves with new investments. But if you're cashing in on old investments, you can gain in big ways at this time. It's a time when you can go back to school. You can learn a new subject. If you're considering childbirth with your partner, now you can see some progress. Overall, it's a good transit for you, certainly better than many other signs. Yeah. Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius, what's happening for you? Venus is transiting your fourth house, which is excellent, right? It's big belly position for Venus. So it's a feel-good transit. It's a feel-good transit. But Venus is not an easy planet for you, right? It takes on the Dushtana sixth house lordship. So here, be careful about getting fights with others. It's a time when you can make enemies quickly, especially with women. You can also get into squabbles about your finances, especially if there are shared resources, such as property and investments with a partner. But if you have a partner, they can certainly help you manage any issues that come up at this time. You will see sudden gains as well in your wealth portfolio. Perhaps money coming from unexpected sources, especially in that first phase of this Venus retrograde transit. That can certainly be the feel-good portion of it. Opportunities can come out of nowhere quite unexpectedly. You can experience some stress and anxiety, right, at this time, because Venus is with Rahu. Everything is happening in your fourth house. So there can be some pettiness, just pettiness that's coming up with others. If you live with your mother, you may not be getting along, right? She may be having the upper hand, for example. People in your domestic sphere could be having the upper hand. You could feel a little bit there's just too much on your plate at this time. But take time to enjoy the first phase, because that's a good portion for you, because Saturn has not yet moved there. But it's important to guard against petty and unnecessary disputes, right? This can take a toll on your health. So we're talking about sixth lord in the fourth house. If you've been experiencing health concerns, Saturn moving in the fourth house during the second phase can make the situation worse. So again, take time for self-care. It's an excellent time to develop a spiritual practice, an exercise routine, any relaxing activities, just simply going for a massage, just getting away from it all, especially, as I said, in the first phase. It's excellent for travel. And areas that you can reform at this time include how you make an income, how you make a livelihood. This transit can open up new opportunities for making money differently, allow you to create a new source of income. Certainly in the first phase of the transit, when Venus connects with Rahu, there are opportunities for additional stream or better streams of income for you. So that would be the time to put yourself out there. Second phase, when Venus connects with Saturn, you can be returning to resolve some domestic issues. If there are property disputes, they can take up some attention at this time. Yeah. So something in your living space seems to be changing. Could be a move as well. Could be a move abroad, right? So that's an area that you should focus on during this retrograde. It could simply be like decorating, painting, redoing your place. And if you're doing that, it's an excellent time for that. Capricorn, for you, you have Yogarka Venus transiting in your third house in its exaltation state. It's not the best place for Venus, third house, but it will still help you. If you're looking for a relationship, you can meet many people at this time. Most could be short flings or short-term connections or just chit-chat. But you will enjoy the experience of flirting, connecting with others. If you thought about doing something on your own business, taking a new initiative, excellent transit for you for that. You can start your own business. You can become self-employed. You can start your own social media platform, like YouTube, for example. Relationships with your siblings can improve at this time. There can be a lot of travel for you at this time. You'll be returning to places that you know rather than exploring new places. This could be related to your own work, your own business. The first phase of this transit, you're going to be busy connecting with others. Right? Venus, Rahu in the third. Some surprises can come your way. You'll hear from people that you may have left way behind, for example. They'll reappear in your life. It can certainly be love, romantic interests coming back into your life. Though, with Rahu there, you may not be getting the entire picture. So it's a time when you could fall head over heels in love with someone, but go slow, as you may not know all the information, right? When Saturn moves into Pisces, things improve for you. And you can get that green signal for any initiative that you wanted to take, but you felt stuck. It's a time of growth. Excellent to research new ventures, new partnerships. Excellent Saturn transit coming up for you, right? So this Venus transit is excellent for you overall. Especially the second phase, when Saturn moves into Pisces. Yeah. Aquarius. This transit of Venus through your second house is excellent. Venus is powerful here, and for you even more so, right? Because it's your Yogarka planet ruling the 4th and 9th houses, transiting the second house. So domestic changes may be in store. You may be like simply redecorating your home, for instance. Money looks good, but you'll also have a lot of expenses. Maybe but it will be on pleasant things. You're buying pleasant things, maybe luxury items that you wanted to for a while. Investments, acquiring new assets is all featured at this time. It can be lucrative for this. Travel can be beneficial now. You may be going back to working from home, and you may be enjoying this. But there are some pressures to deal with on the home front with property matters, especially if you work in your family business. There can be some restructuring going on there. Some of you may rent out your property and get a good tenant, and this can also increase your income at this time. You also have Jupiter transiting 4th house, so it's a beneficial time for home-related matters. Certainly, it's a feel-good transit for you. Yeah. First phase is excellent for gains, whereas the second phase, there will be many outgoings, expenses. You could be traveling, you could be purchasing big items. For those going back to school or learning new subjects, excellent transit for that. It will give you the ability to speak about new subjects with some authority as well, right? For single folks, it's a promising transit. It can bring familiar faces back into your life, especially in that first phase. Second phase of the transit, where we have Saturn conjunct Venus, there can be some hiccups with the family. There can be some disagreements. Sweet speech can win big favors with others at this time, especially your immediate family. So finally, Pisces. For you, Venus rules the 3rd and 8th house, both Dushlana houses, right? So it's a year that we have Venus exaltation transit for 4 months, but Venus is not the easiest planet for you. You'll be hosting that 8th Lord Venus in your 1st house, so it's a time to be cautious. This can result in some unforeseen events, mishaps, accidents, especially from March end till May end when Rahu is also there. And, we have this Venus retrograde phase. I would say exercise caution at that time. You may be exposed to some secrets at this time. This could be related to your significant other, to your partner, to your wife, to your husband. For some, this transit can mean unexpected expenses to do with your significant other. It can be for a special event. It could be for an engagement party or a marriage. It can bring sudden windfall with investments, inheritance, basically unexpected wealth, but there will be some obstacle in the way before you can reach it. It could be that your money is stuck somewhere and it's difficult to access, for instance. This transit will give you the opportunities to explore new ventures if you thought about doing that. Your speech can be very convincing at this time, and you can take initiatives that lead to successful outcomes. Do take advice from experts, as you may not get the entire picture yourself. The first phase of the transit, whilst Rahu is with Venus, can make you very magnetic, very charming. You will stand out in some way, either because of your actions, but certainly due to your speech. It's a time when you can easily make the first move, if you want to start something, be it a relationship, be it a new initiative, a business, a creative project, or some kind of endeavor that you wanted to do for a while, but you just put it in the back burner. This would be a time. You'll be looking good. You'll be feeling good at this time. When that second phase kicks in with Saturn's transit there, it's a time to place some importance on health matters. Right? Go slow at that time. You may run into obstacles if you started a new chapter. Right? Some reality check can come up in that second phase. Motivation also can feel down, especially the weeks leading up to that Rahu-Saturn war in April, that close conjunction. Right? Things improve in May for you. By then, Lagna Lord Jupiter moves into the 4th house, which is also a more supportive position, and you will move away from the stresses of the first few months of the year. So all the best. That's all for now, folks. Cheers.